Welcome back to the Caregiver Minute, where every weekday family and professional caregivers gather to refine their skills, gain inspiration, and prepare to serve. 2 times in the last 5 years, I've talked to good friends who were faced with what seemed like impossible opportunities. They had the chance to buy some real estate that they really wanted, but they didn't have the money to put down to actually make the purchase. And yet they ended up pulling it off. And in both of those cases, when I asked them what they did to make the impossible possible, they said essentially the same thing. They basically just asked themselves, if I didn't think that it was impossible, what would I do next? They had the attitude that failure wasn't an option. They really wanted to make this real estate purchase. They knew that it would be a good thing for them, and they figured it out because they didn't have limiting beliefs. I recently attended a conference where the keynote speaker said, if you're inside the bottle, or if you're inside the box, you can't read the label on the box or the bottle. I thought that was a good insight, and it's something that we can take into our everyday lives. History is full of examples of things that people previously thought were impossible that then got accomplished. Think about how long the 4-minute mile stood. Nobody thought that it was possible to break the 4-minute mile until Roger Bannister did it. Nobody thought that powered manned flight was possible. Well, except the Wright brothers and a few other people who were pursuing it, who were struggling so much that they wondered if it was really possible, but they kept going until they made what most people thought was impossible a reality. Landing on the moon was viewed as impossible by a whole lot of people, and yet it's happened. There are a lot of examples where people just step forward courageously and ask themselves, if I didn't think it was impossible, what would I do next? I think that that can help all of us get unstuck, because I'm sure that we all face situations where we think something is impossible. Maybe it's as straightforward as we're serving someone who has behavior that's really out of character for them. We know that they're trying to communicate. We understand that we need to do the detective work to figure it out. And yet we've been trying and trying and trying, and we just can't quite figure out what's actually going on. It starts to feel, in a situation like that things are impossible. And yet if we didn't think it was impossible, what would we do next? How would we keep on moving forward? Maybe we're struggling in a relationship in our family or with a friend, and we're trying to make things better, but it just feels impossible. Well, if we didn't think that it was impossible, what would we do? What would be the next right step to take? Maybe we're struggling because we have a desire to grow professionally. Maybe some of you watching the Caregiver Minute are frontline caregiving staff and you have a dream of becoming a registered nurse and it feels impossible to you. But if you didn't think that it was impossible to come up with the money or the time or the opportunity or the grades or whatever it takes to make that thing happen, what would you do? So today, I hope you'll take a moment to consider what limiting beliefs might be holding you back in your life. Is there something in your service to others or in your relationships that feels impossible? And if so, well, if you didn't think it was impossible, what would be the next right step? Is there something that you would like to accomplish that feels impossible, but if you could just take the next right step and keep moving, that you might figure things out? It's been said that God doesn't steer a parked car. I think that's true. I think there's value in staying in motion and constantly looking for the next right step. And that's how we invent the future. That's how we make the impossible possible. I hope that's helpful to you and the people you serve. And I look forward to seeing you again soon for another episode of the Caregiver Minute.